welcome to the next tutorial. My name is Adrian and we are going to get started with the fidget star. If you've been anywhere on YouTube or Instagram or anywhere where you see 3D objects being printed, this one's pretty popular. So today I'm going to show you how to make your own. And I got to tell you, it's a lot easier than the previous fidget tutorial. And I'll show you why in a little bit. But first, let me show you something. This is about 20 millimeters. It's pretty thick. And since I've designed this one, I think I would change it to 10, so about half the height. I think that would be better. And so that's what I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna change this one to 10 millimeters, and you'll see why later. Also, I want you to see this. I want you to notice, let me see if I can get this at the center by clicking there, clicking the top, and then just zooming in. Okay, so look, check out the thickness of this bar right here, and now compare it to just this one right here. And then compare it to that one, and then compare it to the one that's very, very far on the outside. So you see how thin it is here compared to the outer one. And that is because when you're doing this, there's a little bit of an illusion that happens when you are doing it just by looking at it. There is something that happens where it's like, well, it's closer, so it must be thinner. Well, it has to be the same width as this one, but it's not. So you're going to have to check because you're doing this by eye, and I'm going to show you how to do this. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to move this over. And let's go ahead and start with the star and the star. I'm going to get these lined up using the Align tool. Centered and centered. We are good to go. Now, I personally do not like working. I want these two right here, these 2 points of the star, to be on a line or just perpendicular to these lines. So let me focus on this thing. Whoa, forgot about that one. Let's focus on this. I'm going to rotate it. Oh, I want a little more control over that. And then I'm going to move them both. Let's just move them right there. And let's see how close they are to being aligned. This one's a little bit high, so let me just move it a little bit. And is it going to let me? No. I got to move it out a little bit. Okay, I think that's good right there. Nope, still a little bit off. A little bit more right there. Okay. Now, usually I give tutorials, numbers and all that stuff so that you can see, hey, this is the number you should make this. The star, I didn't manipulate any, and this star under here, I haven't changed at all. So no need to worry about that. What I'm going to do first, though, is I'm going to make this 5 millimeters. Why? Because if I make this 5 at the end of this, I'm going to duplicate this and then invert it, and it'll make it a total of 10 when I put them together. That's why. Now, I'm going to do something to this yellow star out here so you can see it better. And that's press the letter T. It makes it transparent. Now, the star that's sticking out, I'm going to raise that to 50. Very important that you do that with the center, okay? With the center. Now, as you can see, I'm not sure, well, maybe you can't see this. This part right here, this yellow part, looks like it's perfect, but it's not yet because you want the inside to be angled, but you also want the outside to be angled. And if you can't have both of them, you don't actually have a fidget star. So here they're perfectly aligned, but we don't want perfect. We want some space. So I'm going to click on here, but hit Shift, and I'm going to go down to about 42. All right. Now there is some space here. And the reason we want space is because we're going to create this same angle on the outside. So we need space out here to create the same angle. And you'll see in a little bit what I'm talking about. But this process that I just did right now is exactly the steps you're going to be taking several times to make your fidget star. So I am going to make this one a hole. I'm going to group them. And that is now the beginning of what the fidget star is going to be. All right, so I'm going to click on here, and I'm going to duplicate it. Before I click on anything else, I'm just going to click on hole. Now, When you expand this, do not click on any of these corners. You want to click on the center one and drag it up with the shift. Shift. Shift will make everything grow, excuse me, grow in the same direction at the same time. If you just click over here, it'll grow in that direction. If you just click this, which I'll do, nothing actually grows. It just gets taller, which is a form of growing, I guess. But check this out. I'm going to hit shift and I'm going to make this go up. Oh, forgot to change something. Down here in the snap grid, I'm just turning it off right now. I'll be turning that off and on throughout. So I'm going to click on this and I'm going to hit shift. And now I get to decide how thick I want this to be. Okay, that looks fine. Right here, you can't really see it, but that angle right there is going to go straight down. So, by the way, this is the other thing that you do. You're just going to group them, and there we go. We have created the first part of the fidget star. Now, how do we do this? The same exact way. To get the next one, same exact way. First of all, I'm going to duplicate this, and then I'll move it over to the side so you can see. This one right here, I'm going to ungroup, get rid of the outside layer. Now, mind you, these are the same exact steps you're going to be taking. I'm going to ungroup this one again so I can get that other star in there. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to select both of these, and then I'm going to drag them over here. Now, are they aligned? No, not. So I'm going to select everything again, and I'm going to align them, make sure they're good. That one's already aligned, so we're good there. All right, so now, let me click away. I'm going to change the yellow one down here to transparent so you can see what we're doing. And I'm going to select the pyramid, and I'm going to make them both grow at the same time. So I'm hitting shift and holding shift, and I'm now going to go straight up. Okay, let's see if I can get a better angle here. No, let me go back a little bit. Okay, I'm going to still shift and go up, but I want you to see this part right here. Right there is what I want you to look at. I mean, you can look at the other one too, but I'll be looking at the one at the left. This is the space in between the stars. There it is. There's the space. Is it centered? From this angle, it doesn't look centered. In fact, I'm looking right here. You see that space right? Let's see if I can show you a little bit better. Let me click on the top. So that is thin. This is thick. I'm going to look at it from underneath. Thick, thin. I don't like that because that means your shapes are going to be distorted slightly. So I'm going to center this again. Oh, already centered. So according to this is all good. I don't care. I'm going to change it because I don't like the idea that this will be thicker than this. So I'm going to select the hole and the transparent star, and I'm going to move it down slightly with the arrow. So there's slight movement going on. Unfortunately, I was going the wrong direction. All right, let's see. Can you see a difference? I do a little bit. I think I fixed it too much. And again, all I'm doing is using the arrow key, and I'm going again the wrong direction. This should be getting wider, as you can see right there, and this is thinning. I'm going right there. That's what I like. Okay, so I'm comfortable with that. Now, I'm going to group the hole and the transparent star together. So again, this one and this one. I'm going to group it. I'm going to give back the color. Actually, no. Here's the important part. Here's the important part, okay? Because so far you're learning how to do this. I'm going to duplicate again this one, just like before. Duplicate, duplicate. And I'm going to give the transparency back there. But I also want to make that larger. I'm going to hit shift to hit the center. So I'm going to make another star over here. But here's the thing. You can't really see that because it's transparent. That's what I want to see. All right. This is the part I was telling you about earlier. You see the thickness? Down here, it seems pretty thick now, doesn't it? And right here. So again, all we're doing is we're checking to make sure our thicknesses are similar. So I'm going to go up a little bit with the arrow key. I'm going to move that. I'm going to move this one right here, this transparent outer star. because I want it to be uniform. Okay, we're good now. So I'm going to group this one here, the outer star, and this one together. And you're going to see that you're going to have the beginning of your fidget spinner now. Before we go on, very important part. I'm going to make this, I should have just grabbed the hole, but I didn't. Okay, I'm going to go back a little bit. Okay. Right there. Now I'm going to move this up to 5 because I would just want to make both of them exactly the same height. And I'm going to select that one and this one. And I'm going to group it. There it is. Now they're both the same height. Here's what I want you to see. Because when you're making something like this, you got to make sure it's actually going to work before you print it. I'd hate for you to do all the work and be like, yeah, that didn't work. So this is how you can tell your fidget spinner is actually going to finish, finish correctly. I'm going to hit transparent so you can see. Now I'm going to move this one, the inner star, straight up. Let me focus on here a little bit more. Right? Okay. This is what I want you to see. What makes a fidget star work is that this part cannot get past that part. So let's move it up and see if it actually touches. So if you were to print this, it would have just gone straight through and you would have had a bunch of weird looking stars. That's it. So that tells me that this is not going to work. Now, luckily, it's very easy to change the dimensions. So I'm going to ungroup the outer star. And I'm going to, I guess I need to separate these two by clicking away. I'm going to raise this one so I don't see it. I guess I should go farther back. All right, that's better. So this one, like I said, is too far away from the previous one. So what am I going to do? I'm going to ungroup again. I don't need this one right now. And this one, I'm going to ungroup again. Now I can adjust the transparent one and the hole. What I want to do is move down. Let's see. I hope you can see that the bottom one's actually moving. So you can see this is moving closer to there. And I think that's good. All right, so I moved it in. And I'm going to group these two. I'm going to duplicate this one. I'm going to make it transparent. I'm sorry, make it a hole. Now with the shift button, I'm going to move this one up. And just to make it easier to see, I'm going to change that to yellow on the inside. Yellow. And I guess I didn't click on it. Yellow. Why isn't it working? All right, let's try it again. Yellow. Am I clicking on the wrong thing here? I want that one. What is going on here? Oh, it's already yellow. My bad. I need to make the transparent go away. All right, so we're good except for down here it's super thick. Up there, not so much. So I'm going to move the star up so that this will be thinner. So I'm going to watch the thickness change a little bit. And that one's good now. Okay, so I'm going to select the outer star and the hole. And there you go. I'm going to bring back this part right here. And I just wanted to be 5 from the ground. So there you go. We're going to do another test just to make sure. All right, now for the test, I'm going to make this one transparent. And this one's going to go straight up. And let's see if it will actually touch this corner. Right there. Barely touch. This thing is in danger of falling apart anytime you play with it. So one more time, I'm going to move it down. Let me just move this back. Okay, good. I'm going to undo this one. You're going to be really good at undoing these things. I can tell. You're going to have a lot of practice. Oops. Let me ungroup and then go higher, even higher. Okay, so this one I'm going to ungroup. I'm going to get rid of the outer shell right there. I keep forgetting to do that. There. Now this one I'm going to ungroup again. Now I'm going to select the transparent star and the hole. And I'm going to make it just a little bit smaller. Remember, it already works. We just want to make sure it works a little bit more. So I'm hitting the shift while I'm moving it down. Okay, I'm going to say that's good right there. And now I'm going to select the transparent and the whole, put them together. I'm going to change that to a solid one. I'm going to duplicate it. Now that I've duplicated, make that a whole. I'm going to hit the shift, move that up. I'm going faster now because this is the third time I've done this. And I'm hoping by now you already see that. I'm going to move this up with the arrow keys. Yep, that looks better. All right, I'm going to select both of them, this one and this one, group. Now that block that I put in midair, oops, did that wrong. Down here, that should be 5, hit enter. All right. Now, mind you, I did not select everything to group because that would group the inside star too, and I don't want that. I want to be able to move the inside stars separately. So I'm clicking here, clicking out here, and then grouping just the outside. Now, last time, transparent. Now let's see if this is going to work. I'm going to move this up, and it will get caught right there. It will not go past that right there. You are good to go. Let's continue. Now look at the spacing. Look at that spacing, okay? Because that's what you're going to be using when you're making the other ones. So far we've made 2. I'm going to change that to transparent or to colored, solid. I'm going to duplicate this and move it out over here. Now I'm going to ungroup, get rid of that box. Don't need it right. Actually, you know what? I can use that later. So I'll use that later. And then go over here, zoom in, and ungroup, get rid of the outer star, don't need that, ungroup, and then now I'm going to drag this to the right. I'm hitting the shift, by the way, when I drag it, that way I don't have to mess with that many options here. I'm going to group everything again, but I'm sorry, not group, I'm going to align. Let me center this first of all, and hit align. Everything now is aligned. Okay, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the next level. But to do that, I'm going to select the transparent star and the whole and hit shift to move it up. I'm looking down here, by the way. I want to see what kind of space I have. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if the space is aligned. So here's what we're looking at. Space, space. Does it seem bigger? Does it seem like it's too much? It seems like it's wider here than down at the bottom. So I'm going to move that. Both of these, the transparent and the whole, up. Okay, now I'm going to group them. Make this solid again, so you can see that. I'm going to duplicate this one here and then make it a whole. And now I'm going to create another star, shift. Now again, the hard part is that thickness the same as the other thicknesses. I went underneath, if you couldn't tell. They look okay there, a little bit off here. So I'm going to move the outer star that way down. The goal is to make them as even as possible. So right now I'm going to click on that, the outer one, and then that one. Now I'm going to bring that block I had hanging up there. You see the shadow there? There it is. Oops. Well, I guess I can make it bigger because I'm going to be moving it. All right. Let's move it down. And I want to go to 5 again. And again, I'm only selecting the bottom one right there. And I click on the corner, otherwise I might be able to select other ones. I don't. I just want the outer one. And I'm grouping it. There it is. Now, just to test my theory, I'm going to hit T. I'm going to select, let me get a better focus here. I'm going to select this one right here, the one that's next to it. I'm going to move it up just to make sure it will not pass. So here it gets stuck there. I could make it a little bit smaller. I'm not sure I want to, but I could. I'm fine there. But the thing is, you got to make sure, because we're not doing this mathematically, we are just playing it by by ear. We're just checking it out. You have to check to see if it's going to work. So I'm going to do the process one more time very quickly. That way you can get a feel for it. Here it is. I'm going to duplicate what I already have. I'm going to move it over to the right. I'm going to ungroup. It's going to leave us this giant block that we're going to put in this separate. This giant block is going to go up. And now this one, I'm going to ungroup again. That's two ungroups. I'm going to get rid of that one. Let me click away. Then I'm going to ungroup again. Now I'm going to move those two back here. I like to align it because it's only a few seconds and make sure that everything starts aligned. Okay, now with these two selected, the transparent and the whole, I'm going to increase it. I'm going to increase the height. Hitting the shift button, I'm going to move it out. Remember, this is where I make the space in between the stars. All right, that looks fine. So there's the process, okay? I'm going to finish this off again right there. I'm going to group, make that one back to solid so I can see that again. I'm going to duplicate this one and change it to a whole. I'm going to hit shift and then move this up so I can see the one that's underneath. All right, that looks pretty thick, so not good. Let me move this. All right, that looks better. However, what I want to do is, with the arrow key, I'm going to move this up slightly because I just think it's too thick down there. All right. And again, I'm just pressing the arrow key. Now I'm going to group this one and this one right here. There it is. Now I'm going to drop the giant cloud to 5. Drag it over here, and it might be too small now. Yeah, I think it is. So I'm just going to make it bigger. Again, I'm going to select this right here. Let me click over here. Now they're both selected and should work. Again, I'm going to try the test because I get nervous with these things. I don't want to print something and it's not going to work. So let me move this one up. I selected the one that's solid right here. And I'm going to move it up. That right there would fail. Not good. That's why you test it. That's why you test it. So I'm going to undo. What did I undo? Oh, then that, then that. I'm going to get rid of that. Undoing, undoing, undoing. Control Z, and Control Z. There it is. This is the part that I want. I'm going to click this and click that. So now I want to move it down so I can get closer. That's what I want right there. Let me look under here just to see how the space is. I know this is a weird look here. I want to move it down. I want to go in this direction. So I'm going to use the arrow key because this one is thicker than this one. Okay, that's about right. Yeah, now it's about right. Okay, now group. I'll make this solid so you can see it. I'm going to duplicate it, make it a whole, hit the shift button and move it up. I'm going to check the thickness. That actually looks good. I'm going to move it up a little bit with the arrow keys. Yeah, that's good. And now I'm going to group them, the outside one. Now I'm going to bring the giant cloud, here, and then I'm going to move it down. There it is. Change that to 5. And I'm just going to increase it so it covers all the parts of the star. I think I've got it all covered. I'm going to click on the outside here, group, and there we go. You see the process? Those are the steps. If you forgot, well then keep on rewinding and checking and, doing all the things you have to do. By the way, since we're already here, and I'm going to skip forward to the last part so you can see how it's done. You can make a fidget design of most shapes. Check this out. If you wanted to make a circle, what you need, I'm going to make this, let's say 5. And let's put this one right here. What you need actually is, let's group them. All right, they're already grouped. Great. What you need is for there to be an inner angle. I'm going to change that so you can see what I'm talking about. Oops, I need to focus over here. Look, This angle right here is what you need to create your own little fidget circle. For some reason you wanted to do that, which I'm not sure why. So you would just group those two right there. Group. Forgot to make it a hole. Make it a hole. And then you group it. Now this one here, you would duplicate, make it transparent, and then you would do the same thing we're doing over here. See? And there you go. If you wanted to, you could create another one of these fidget stars with a circle. And you would just duplicate this over and over again. If you wanted to, you could do it with a square. Wow, that's amazing. A square. And let's align these two things here. Let's just make sure that right there and right there. Okay, we're good. Let's make this one 5. Oh, let's click on 5. And let's make it transparent so we can see. Now, because what really matters is the bottom shape. The bottom shape is what really matters, and that there's an angle going inside. So I'm going to make this smaller so you can see. Right there. That's good. I need to make this one a hole. Group them. I'm going to duplicate this thing, make it a hole, and then I'm going to make this one go up. And now, if you really wanted to, for some strange reason, wanted to make a fidget square, there you go. You just keep on duplicating this and cutting it. Could you do it with anything else? Apparently, yes, but it would require some thinking. Good luck. And let's just fast forward to more of these and the end of these. Let's just focus on there. And don't forget to subscribe and do all the things you do to make sure you get the latest videos. Process is pretty much the same. You want to select all if you haven't grouped them yet. Select all of them. You want to duplicate, and then you want to flip them so that they are facing the other way. We're going to now raise or lower depending on what we have here. Looks like we lowered them, and I'm going to change this to off. And I'm going to raise them both so I can see what's going on here a little bit better. I'm going to change that to, let's see if I can get that to 0. And check to see, yeah, it's touching there. And they look like they're off by a little bit. So let me try it again. I'm going to raise or lower. See how there's two lines there? I'm going to see if I can just get it to one line without. Did I just select everything? Mostly everything. That's awesome. All right, let's try this again. See, when you're selecting these things, there's a slight chance you're going to be selecting. Yeah, if you see there's a little blue line there. So at this point, I'm just going to be happy with what I have because it seems like it is grouped for some reason. I mean, I could just try this individually and let's see if that'll work. So far, the blue line does not go all the way down. I'm going to hit Shift and hold, and then just select the individual ones. And hopefully that'll do the trick. And the last one. And again, the goal is to move so that there's only one line there. That's what I want. But what I don't want is space in between. So let me see. Yeah, I don't see any space in between. We are good. Don't mind that. That's just another project I'm working on. Okay. So now I'm going to group these things right there. And now it's time to print. Export as an STL. And I'll just leave it there, you guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, do all the things you do to make this thing more available to everybody else. Thank you for watching and enjoy the next lesson.